The exploration ship, Star Seeker, floated silently through space. Captain Mike Torres looked at the planet on his screen. It was gray and lifeless. No plants. No water. Just rocks and dust. "Another dead world," said Jenny Park, the ship's scientist. "Should we skip it?" Mike thought for a moment. They had been exploring this region for 3 months. Every planet was empty. Boring. But something about this planet felt different. "Let's take a closer look," Mike decided. "One quick scan won't hurt." The ship moved closer. Suddenly the sensors started beeping loudly. "Captain?" Jenny shouted excitedly. "I'm detecting structures. Big ones. Underground." Mike leaned forward. "Structures? You mean buildings?" "Yes. And they're ancient. Maybe thousands of years old." The crew became excited. Finding alien ruins was rare. Very rare. This could be the discovery of their lives. "Prepare the landing shuttle," Mike ordered. "We're going down." 2 hours later, Mike and 5 crew members stood on the planet's surface. The air was thin but breathable. The ground was covered in red dust that hadn't been disturbed in centuries. "The structures are this way," Jenny said, checking her scanner. She pointed toward a large hill. As they walked closer, they saw it. A massive doorway carved into the hillside. It was at least 50 feet tall. Strange symbols covered the entire surface. "Look at these markings," whispered Chin, their language expert. He touched the symbols gently. "I've never seen writing like this before." "Can you read it?" Mike asked. Chin studied the symbols carefully. His face looked worried. "Some of it. I think these are warnings." "Warnings about what?" "I'm not sure. The language is too old. But I see this symbol repeated many times." Chin pointed at a symbol that looked like a mouth full of teeth. "In most ancient languages this means danger. Or death." Mike felt uncomfortable. Should they continue? But they had come so far. And this was too important to ignore. "We'll be careful," Mike said. "Let's go inside." The team entered through the massive doorway. Their flashlights cut through the darkness. The corridor was huge, like it was built for giants. The walls were smooth and covered in more symbols. They walked for 10 minutes, going deeper and deeper underground. Then the corridor opened into an enormous chamber. Everyone stopped and stared. The chamber was the size of a football stadium. But what made them gasp was what filled it. Thousands of large pods, each one the size of a car. The pods were made of transparent crystal, and inside each one— "Oh my God," Jenny whispered. "There's something inside them." Mike walked closer to the nearest pod. He shined his light inside. A creature lay frozen. It was huge, at least 9 feet tall. Its body was covered in thick, armored skin. 4 powerful arms. Legs built like tree trunks. But the face was the worst part. It had a wide mouth filled with rows of sharp teeth. Eyes closed, but even sleeping it looked terrifying. "What are these things?" someone asked. "I don't know," Jenny replied, her voice shaking. "But they're not like any species we've ever seen." Chin found more symbols on the wall. He tried to read them. "I can only understand parts. But I think these creatures were warriors. Hunters. This symbol here means sleep. And this one means never wake." "Never wake," Mike repeated. "Why would they need to sleep?" "Maybe they were dangerous," Chin suggested. "Maybe their own people put them to sleep to protect the galaxy." The team explored more of the chamber. They found thousands more pods. Then tens of thousands. The chamber went on and on. "There must be millions of them," Jenny said in shock. "All sleeping." At the center of the chamber they found a control panel. It was still glowing with soft blue light after all these centuries. Symbols covered the panel. "Don't touch anything," Mike warned. But their engineer, Robert, was already studying it. "This is incredible technology. Way more advanced than ours. I think this panel controls the sleep pods." "Can you tell what it does?" Mike asked. Robert touched the panel gently, trying to understand it. "There are only 2 settings. One keeps them asleep. The other—" He stopped. "The other what?" Mike demanded. "The other wakes them up." Everyone stepped back from the panel. "We should leave," Chin said nervously. "Now." But it was too late. Robert's hand had accidentally brushed against a symbol. The panel lit up bright red. An alarm started echoing through the chamber. "What did you do?" Mike shouted. "I didn't mean to. I just touched it." Robert cried. The pods began glowing. The blue light changed to red. A humming sound filled the chamber, getting louder and louder. "Run!" Mike screamed. The team ran toward the exit. Behind them, the pods started opening. Frost burst from the seals. The humming became a roar. As they reached the corridor, Mike looked back one last time. In the nearest pod, a massive creature's eyes slowly opened. They glowed red in the darkness. And they looked hungry. Captain Mike Torres and his crew ran back to their shuttle as fast as they could. Behind them, the alarm continued screaming through the ancient chambers. Go, go, go! Mike shouted as they scrambled aboard. Get us off this planet now. The shuttle lifted off. Through the window, Mike watched the hill below. Steam and red light poured from the entrance. Something was happening down there. Something terrible. Captain, the sensors are going crazy, Jenny reported. Energy readings are off the scale. Those pods, they're all opening. How many? Mike asked. Jenny's face went pale. All of them. Every single one. There are 3 million pods in that chamber. 3 million. The number made Mike feel sick. 3 million of those monsters all waking up at once. Get us back to the Star Seeker, Mike ordered. We need to warn Earth immediately. Deep underground in the massive chamber, the creature from the first pod stood up. His name was Vrak, and he was the hunt master of the Kresh species. Vrak stretched his 4 powerful arms. His muscles were stiff after sleeping for so long. Around him, thousands of other Kresh were waking up. They climbed out of their pods, confused and angry. How long did we sleep? Asked Zara, Vrak's second in command. Vrak checked the chamber systems. His eyes widened. 10,000 years. 10,000 years? Zara couldn't believe it. Why so long? We were supposed to wake after 1,000. Vrak studied the controls. Someone had changed the settings long ago. Someone wanted the Kresh to sleep forever. But now, thanks to the small creatures who had stumbled into their chamber, they were awake. It doesn't matter, Vrak said. We're awake now. And I'm hungry. Around them, millions of Kresh were waking. They roared with hunger. With anger. With the need to hunt. The Kresh were not like other species. They were built for one purpose: hunting. Their ancestors had evolved on a death world where only the strongest survived. The Kresh became the ultimate predators. They hunted everything. And when they ran out of prey on their world, they built ships and hunted across the stars. For thousands of years, the Kresh had terrorized the galaxy. They destroyed civilizations for sport. They hunted species to extinction just for fun. Entire planets became empty because of them. Finally, the other species united. They couldn't defeat the Kresh in battle. The Kresh were too strong. Too skilled. Too many. So they created a trap. They lured the Kresh to this dead planet. Then they activated a sleeping gas that put all the Kresh into hibernation. The galaxy thought the Kresh were gone forever. They were wrong. Vrak walked to the surface. He looked up at the sky. The stars were different now. 10,000 years had changed everything. But some things never changed. What do we do now, Hunt Master? Zara asked. Vrak smiled, showing all his sharp teeth. What we always do. We hunt. He activated the ancient communication system. It sent a message across the entire galaxy. A simple message in the old universal language. The Kresh have returned. The message reached every species in the galaxy within hours. On 1,000 different worlds, leaders received the transmission. And on every world the same reaction happened. Terror. The Zelthar Council gathered in emergency session. This can't be real, their leader said. The Kresh are extinct. Dead. Gone. The message is real, his advisor replied. Our sensors detected massive energy signatures from the Kresh homeworld planet. They're awake. What do? We run. We hide. Just like our ancestors did. On the planet Karath, the military commander ordered all ships to retreat to hidden bases. Don't engage the Kresh. Don't even let them see you. Just hide and pray they don't find us. The Minbari Empire, the Prillan Collective, the Zeta Alliance, every major power in the galaxy made the same decision. Hide. The Kresh couldn't be fought. They could only be avoided. But one species didn't get the warnings in time. Humans. On Earth, the Human Defense Council received Captain Torres's report. Admiral Rodriguez listened carefully. So you found some ancient aliens sleeping underground, Rodriguez said. And you accidentally woke them up. Yes, sir, Mike replied via video transmission. And I think they might be dangerous. How dangerous? Very dangerous, sir. They look like they were built for fighting. Admiral Rodriguez wasn't too worried. Humans had met other alien species before. Some were friendly. Some weren't. But humans always found a way to communicate. To make peace. We'll send a diplomatic ship, Rodriguez decided. We'll explain it was an accident. I'm sure we can work this out. But before the diplomatic ship could launch, the Kresh arrived. 5 massive Kresh warships appeared in orbit around a small human colony called New Haven. The colony had only 10,000 people. Farmers, families, children. The colony leader tried to communicate with the ships. "This is New Haven Colony. Please identify yourselves. We mean no harm." Vrak's face appeared on their screen. The colonists gasped at his appearance. Forearms, armored skin, mouth full of teeth. "We are Kresh," Vrak said simply. "We are hunters. You are prey. Run." "Wait, we can talk about." Vrak cut the transmission. "Begin the hunt." The Kresh ships opened fire. New Haven Colony sent out one last desperate message before their communications died. "They're attacking. The Kresh are attacking. Someone help us." "There." Then silence. On Earth, Admiral Rodriguez stared at the dead transmission in horror. An entire colony. 10,000 people. Gone in minutes. "Get me every ship we have," Rodriguez ordered. "And someone find out what the hell a Kresh is." His assistant pulled up the old galactic archives. What he found made his blood run cold. The Kresh. Ancient apex predators. Destroyed 70 civilizations. Hunted for sport. No species had ever defeated them in battle. They were the galaxy's nightmare. And humans had just woken them up. "Sir," the assistant whispered. "According to these records, when the Kresh hunt, they don't stop until their prey is extinct." Admiral Rodriguez felt ice in his stomach. Humanity had just become prey to the most dangerous hunters the galaxy had ever known. And the hunt had only just begun. Part 3, Humanity Learns the Truth. Admiral Rodriguez stood in the Human Defense Council headquarters. Around him, screens showed the destruction of New Haven Colony. Smoke. Fire. Nothing left alive. "How many casualties?" Counselor Park asked quietly. "All of them," Rodriguez answered. 10,000 people. Dead in 20 minutes. The room fell silent. 20 minutes. That's all it took for the Kresh to destroy an entire colony. "We need to understand what we're facing," Rodriguez said. "Someone contact the other alien species. Ask them about the Kresh." His communication officer tried for hours. Most species didn't respond. They were too afraid to even talk about the Kresh. Finally, one species answered. An alien face appeared on the screen. It was Ambassador Torval from the Karathi Federation. He looked sad and frightened. "Humans," Torval said slowly. "You woke up the galaxy's nightmare. Tell us about the Kresh," Rodriguez demanded. Torval closed his eyes. 10,000 years ago, the Kresh nearly destroyed all life in this galaxy. They are not like other species. They don't want territory. They don't want resources. They hunt because they love to hunt. Killing is their purpose. "How many species did they destroy?" Park asked. 70 civilizations, Torval replied. Billions of lives. Some species tried to fight. All failed. The Kresh are perfect hunters. Fast, strong, intelligent. They never miss. They never give up. Rodriguez leaned forward. "Then how did you stop them last time?" "We didn't stop them," Torval said. "We tricked them. We lured them all to one planet and put them to sleep. It took the combined effort of 30 species to do it. And even then we lost millions of lives. So fight them together," Rodriguez suggested. "Unite again." Torval shook his head sadly. "No species will fight the Kresh. We learned our lesson. The only way to survive the Kresh is to hide. I'm sorry, humans. You woke them up. Now you must face them alone." The transmission ended. "Alone?" Park whispered. "We faced them alone." 3 days later, the human fleet gathered near the colony world of Kepler 442. 50 warships. The best humanity had. Admiral Rodriguez commanded from the flagship. "The Kresh are heading here," his tactical officer reported. 10 ships this time. Rodriguez felt nervous but determined. "We have 50 ships against their 10. We can win this." His officers weren't so sure. They had watched the footage from New Haven. The Kresh ships were incredibly fast. Their weapons were devastatingly powerful. But humans had no choice. They had to fight. The Kresh ships appeared from hyperspace. They were black and sleek, shaped like hunting predators. Even their ships looked dangerous. "All ships, battle formation," Rodriguez ordered. The human fleet formed defensive lines. They waited for the Kresh to attack first. Vrak looked at the human ships from his command bridge. 50 ships? They think numbers will save them. How amusing. "Should we call for reinforcements, Hunt Master?" Zara asked. "No," Vrak smiled. 10 hunters are more than enough for this prey. Begin the hunt. The crash ships moved incredibly fast. They separated, each one picking a different target. They didn't fight together. Each crash ship hunted alone. Fire. Rodriguez commanded. Human missiles and lasers shot toward the crash ships. But the crash ships dodged easily. They moved like living creatures, twisting and turning through space. Then the crash returned fire. Red energy beams cut through space. They hit human ships with perfect accuracy. One shot, one kill. The crash never missed. 3 human ships exploded immediately. Then 5 more. Then 10. Evasive maneuvers. Rodriguez shouted. But it didn't help. The crash tracked every movement. Predicted every dodge. They hunted like wolves chasing rabbits. Our weapons can't hit them, his tactical officer cried. They're too fast. And their weapons are cutting through our shields like paper, another officer added. Rodriguez watched in horror as ship after ship was destroyed. 30 ships gone. 40 ships. His entire fleet was being torn apart. All ships retreat. Rodriguez finally ordered. The surviving human ships turned to run. The crash didn't chase them. They had already won. They had proven their point. Out of 50 human ships, only 12 survived. Back on Earth, Rodriguez met with the Defense Council. Everyone looked defeated. We can't fight them, one general said. They're too strong. Maybe we should hide like the other species. Hide where? Rodriguez asked bitterly. They know where Earth is. They know where all our colonies are. We can't hide. Then what do? Park asked. Rodriguez pulled up the battle footage. He had watched it 100 times looking for something. Anything that could help. There, he said, pausing the video. Look at how the crash fought. Everyone studied the screen. They separated, Rodriguez continued. 10 ships, but each one fought alone. They never helped each other. Never coordinated attacks. So, someone asked. They didn't need to. They still destroyed us. But it's strange, Rodriguez insisted. We humans always fight in groups. We cover each other. Support each other. But the crash, they hunt individually. Dr. Sarah Chin, a xenobiologist, stepped forward. Admiral, may I suggest something? Go ahead. I've been studying the crash biology from the old records, Chin explained. The crash evolved as lone predators. On their home world, each crash hunted alone. They're programmed by evolution to be solitary hunters. What does that mean for us? Park asked. Chin smiled slightly. It means they have a weakness. They don't understand teamwork. They're individually perfect, but collectively, they're just 10 separate hunters. Rodriguez's eyes lit up. And humans? Humans evolved as pack hunters, Chin said. We survived because we hunted together. Coordinated. Worked as a team. We're weaker individually, but together. Together we're stronger than any individual predator, Rodriguez finished. That's how we beat them. Not by being stronger. By being smarter. By working together. For the first time since the crash awakened, hope appeared in the room. We can't fight them their way, Rodriguez said. So we fight them our way. As a pack. As a team. As humans. Can we really beat them? Park asked. Rodriguez looked at the destroyed ships on the screen. He thought of New Haven Colony. Of all the people who had died. We have to try, he said firmly. Because if we don't, humanity goes extinct. And I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to die yet. The council voted unanimously. Humanity would fight. Not as individuals. But as a pack. The hunt was about to turn around. Part 4. The Hunter Becomes Hunted. 3 weeks had passed since the terrible defeat at Kepler 442. Admiral Rodriguez worked day and night, planning humanity's counterattack. We can't outfight them, he told his tactical team. But we can outsmart them. Dr. Chin presented her research. I studied every crash battle from the ancient records. The crash always hunt the same way. They split up. Each one picks a target. They chase until the prey is dead. They never change tactics because their tactics always work. So they're predictable, Rodriguez said. Exactly, Chin nodded. They think they're perfect hunters. That makes them arrogant. And arrogance is a weakness. Rodriguez smiled. Then let's give them prey they can't catch. The trap was set near the asteroid field of Sigma 7. Captain Mike Torres volunteered to be the bait. His ship, the Star Seeker, waited alone in open space. Are you sure about this, Captain? His crew asked nervously. No, Mike admitted. But someone has to do it. They didn't wait long. 3 crash ships appeared, drawn by the lone human vessel. Aboard the lead crash ship, A hunter named Drax smiled. A single ship. Alone. Easy prey. The three Kresh ships separated, each approaching from a different angle. Classic Kresh hunting pattern. Surround the prey. Cut off escape routes. They're splitting up, Mike's pilot reported. Just like Admiral Rodriguez predicted. Good, Mike said. When I give the signal, run toward the asteroid field. Full speed. The Kresh ships opened fire. Red beams cut through space. But the Starseeker was already moving, running toward the asteroids. The prey runs. Drax laughed. Chase it. The three Kresh ships pursued. They followed the Starseeker deep into the asteroid field. The human ship weaved between the giant rocks, barely avoiding collisions. Clumsy prey, Drax muttered. This won't take long. But then something happened that Drax didn't expect. 30 human ships appeared from behind the asteroids. They had been hiding, waiting. And they didn't attack separately. They attacked together. 10 ships targeted Drax's vessel from the left. 10 more from the right. 10 from above. All firing at once. All hitting the same spot on his shields. What? Drax shouted in surprise. They're working together. His shields overloaded from the concentrated fire. Missiles broke through. His ship shook violently. Retreat, Drax ordered. But the human ships had surrounded him. Just like he had tried to surround them. Everywhere he turned, human ships fired in coordinated waves. The other two Kresh ships tried to help Drax. But they faced the same problem. Humans attacking from all sides. Working as a team. Supporting each other. Drax's ship exploded first. Then the second Kresh ship. The third one barely escaped, heavily damaged. Aboard the Starseeker, Mike's crew cheered. They had done it. They had destroyed 2 Kresh ships and damaged a third. Report back to Earth, Mike ordered. Tell them the trap worked. The news spread quickly. Humanity had won its first real victory against the Kresh. Small but important. Admiral Rodriguez immediately planned more operations. He divided the human fleet into small hunting packs. Each pack had 10 to 15 ships. They worked together, covering each other, coordinating every move. The Kresh, hunting alone as always, started falling into trap after trap. Near the colony of New Sparta, 4 Kresh ships attacked. But 20 human ships were waiting in ambush. The humans attacked in waves, never giving the Kresh time to recover. 2 Kresh ships destroyed. At the trade station Olympus 9, a Kresh hunter tried to destroy the station. But human defenders worked together, rotating their shields, sharing power. When one ship was damaged, others protected it. The Kresh hunter retreated, confused and frustrated. Every battle showed the same pattern. Individual Kresh hunters were still dangerous. Still deadly. But human packs were deadlier. Vrak received the reports with growing anger. He had lost 15 ships in 3 weeks. 15. How is this possible? He roared. They're just prey. Weak humans. Zara looked at the battle data carefully. Hunt Master, the humans are fighting differently than any species we've encountered before. They don't fight as individuals. They fight as groups. Like a pack of animals. Pack. Vrak was confused. The Kresh didn't understand pack hunting. Every Kresh was a lone hunter. That's what made them perfect. Look at this battle, Zara showed him footage. 20 human ships attacked 4 of our hunters. But they didn't each pick a target. All 20 attacked the same target together. Overwhelmed it. Then moved to the next target. All 20 again. Vrak watched the video. It looked wrong. Unnatural. That's not how hunters fight. That's not how Kresh fight, Zara corrected. But apparently that's how humans fight. And it's working. Vrak slammed his fist on the control panel. For 10,000 years, the Kresh had been the galaxy's apex predators. No species could stand against them. But now, these small, weak humans were defeating his hunters. They're using our own tactics against us, Zara continued. We separate to hunt. But when we're separated, we're vulnerable to their group attacks. They turn our strength into weakness. Vrak's pride was hurt. No prey had ever fought back successfully before. Ever. Gather the fleet, Vrak ordered. All of it. If these humans want to hunt in packs, then I'll show them what happens when the entire Kresh swarm hunts together. Across the galaxy, other alien species watched in amazement. The Karathi, the Zelthar, the Minbari. They all monitored the human-Kresh war from hiding. The humans are winning, Ambassador Torval said in disbelief. Actually winning. Impossible, his advisor replied. No one defeats the Kresh. But look at the data. The humans have destroyed 20 Kresh ships. 20. The other species started talking among themselves. Maybe the humans weren't as weak as they looked. Maybe hiding wasn't the only option. Maybe, just maybe, the Kresh could be beaten. Some species began sending secret messages to Earth, offering information, advice. A few even offered weapons. "Why are you helping us?" Rodriguez asked one alien ambassador. "Because you're doing what we were too afraid to do," the ambassador answered. "You're fighting back. And if you can beat the Kresh, then maybe the galaxy can finally be free of fear." But Vrak was gathering his forces. 2 million Kresh warriors. 300 ships. The largest Kresh hunting party ever assembled. They were coming to Earth. And this time Vrak wouldn't hunt carefully. He would overwhelm the humans with pure numbers. Drown them in Kresh warriors. The Hunt Master was angry. And angry Kresh were the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. The humans had won some battles. But the real war was about to begin. Part 5, The Great Hunt. Earth's defense stations detected them first. 300 Kresh ships. All heading toward Earth. "They're bringing everything," Admiral Rodriguez said quietly. "This is it. The final battle." Every human ship was recalled. Every weapon was prepared. Every soldier knew this was humanity's last stand. Win or die. No other option. "How many ships do we have?" Counselor Park asked. 180, Rodriguez answered. "We're outnumbered almost 2-1. Can we win?" Rodriguez looked at the tactical display. 300 Kresh ships against 180 human ships. The numbers didn't look good. "We can win," he said firmly. "But not by fighting them directly. We need to use their hunting instincts against them." Dr. Chin stepped forward with a plan. "The Kresh think like predators. When predators see prey running, they chase. It's instinct. They can't help it. So we run." Park asked. "We run?" Rodriguez nodded. "But we run toward a trap." The human fleet positioned itself near the Neptune asteroid belt. Thousands of asteroids. Millions of hiding places. Perfect for an ambush. Vrak's massive fleet arrived at Earth's orbit. But something was wrong. The planet's defenses were minimal. Only 20 human ships guarded Earth. "Where are the rest?" Vrak demanded. His sensors found them. The human fleet was near Neptune, far from Earth. They abandoned their home world? Zara was confused. "That makes no sense." Vrak smiled. "They're weak. Cowards. They run instead of protecting their home." "Fine. We'll destroy their fleet first. Then we'll take Earth." The Kresh fleet jumped to Neptune. When they arrived, they found the human ships waiting at the edge of the asteroid belt. Captain Mike Torres commanded the forward group. "Here they come. Remember the plan. We run, they chase." 300 Kresh ships moved forward. To them the humans looked scared. Defeated. Running away. "All ships begin the hunt," Vrak ordered. The Kresh fleet split up. Each hunter picked a target. Each one chased their chosen prey. It was what they did best. What they always did. The human ships turned and ran into the asteroid field. "They flee." Vrak laughed. "Just like all prey flees. Chase them down." The Kresh ships entered the asteroid field, pursuing the humans. They weaved between the giant rocks, following their targets deeper and deeper. "Now," Rodriguez commanded from his hidden position. Suddenly the asteroids came alive. Hidden human ships appeared from behind every rock. Ships that had been waiting silently. Ships whose engines were cold, invisible to Kresh sensors. 160 human ships. All appearing at once. All around the Kresh fleet. "Trap!" Zara screamed. "It's a trap." But it was too late. The Kresh had entered the killing zone. And unlike them, the humans didn't hunt alone. 10 human ships attacked each Kresh vessel. Coordinated strikes. From all sides. The Kresh ships tried to fight back, but they were separated, spread throughout the asteroid field. "Pack hunting," Rodriguez said with satisfaction. "Just like wolves taking down prey." The first wave of Kresh ships exploded. 20 ships gone in minutes. The Kresh tried to regroup, but the asteroids blocked their formations. They couldn't see each other. Couldn't help each other. The humans used the asteroids as shields. They would attack then hide. Attack from a different angle then hide again. The Kresh couldn't track them. Couldn't predict their movements. Vrak watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. Regroup. All ships formed together. But the human ships had divided the Kresh fleet. Groups of 10 to 20 Kresh ships were scattered throughout the asteroid field. Each group was surrounded by human packs. "They separated us on purpose," Zara realized. "They made us hunt individually. That's what we always do. But spread out like this, we're vulnerable." Another 30 crush ships exploded. Then 40 more. The humans fought perfectly together. One ship would distract the crush. Others would attack from behind. When one human ship was damaged, others protected it. They rotated shields, shared weapons, worked as one unit. The crush fought well individually. But individually they stood no chance against coordinated pack attacks. Hunt Master, we've lost half the fleet. Zara reported. 150 ships. Gone. Vrak couldn't believe it. The Kresh were the galaxy's apex predators. The perfect hunters. How could prey defeat them? Then he understood. The humans weren't prey. They were hunters too. Different hunters. Pack hunters. And in this battlefield, with these tactics, pack hunters beat lone hunters. They've been studying us, Vrak said slowly. Learning how we hunt. They used our own instincts against us. They made us separate. Made us chase. Led us into their territory. What do we do? Zara asked desperately. Vrak looked at his tactical display. Only 120 ships left. And they were still losing. For the first time in Kresh history, the Hunt Master made a decision no Kresh had ever made. All ships, Vrak said, his voice heavy with defeat. Retreat. Retreat. Zara couldn't believe it. Kresh don't retreat. Today we do, Vrak replied. Because today we met hunters better than us. The surviving Kresh ships jumped to hyperspace. Running. Fleeing. The humans had won. On Rodriguez's flagship, the crew erupted in cheers. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had defeated the Kresh. Casualty report? Rodriguez asked. 43 ships lost, his tactical officer reported. But we destroyed 180 Kresh vessels. 180. More than half the Kresh fleet. Mike Torres's voice came over the comm. Admiral, we just proved something important today. What's that, Captain? That humans are the real apex predators. We just hunted the hunters. Rodriguez smiled. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Across the galaxy, every species watched in shock. The impossible had happened. The Kresh had retreated. The Kresh had lost. And humanity had won. The galaxy would never be the same again. Commander Vrak's remaining fleet gathered at a distant moon. Only 120 ships survived. Less than half of what he started with. This is impossible, one Kresh captain said. We are Kresh. We don't lose. But we did lose, Vrak replied quietly. To humans. For 3 days the Kresh warriors argued. Some wanted to attack again. Others wanted revenge. But Vrak had learned something important. We can't beat them, he finally admitted. The words tasted bitter in his mouth. Not because they're stronger. But because they fight in ways we don't understand. Zara nodded. They hunt as a pack. We hunt alone. In one-on-one combat, any Kresh could kill any human. But they never fight one-on-one. They always fight together. Then what do we do? Someone asked. Vrak stood up slowly. We do something no Kresh has ever done before. We ask for peace. Silence filled the room. Peace. The Kresh had never asked for peace in their entire history. If we don't, Vrak continued, the humans will hunt us until we're extinct. Look at the numbers. Every battle we lose more ships than they do. Eventually they'll destroy us all. It was the hardest decision Vrak had ever made. But it was the right one. On Earth, Admiral Rodriguez received an unexpected message. It was from Commander Vrak. Humans, Vrak's face appeared on screen. I am Vrak, Hunt Master of the Kresh. I come to ask for peace. The entire Defense Council stared in shock. The Kresh were asking for peace? Why should we trust you? Rodriguez demanded. You destroyed New Haven Colony. You killed thousands of humans. You're right, Vrak admitted. I cannot undo what we did. But I can stop more killing. The Kresh have hunted for 10,000 years. We thought we were the galaxy's ultimate predators. We were wrong. He paused, then continued. You humans showed us something we never understood. True strength isn't about hunting alone. It's about hunting together. You're not stronger than us individually. But together you're unstoppable. Rodriguez looked at his council. What do you think? We could destroy them, one general said. Hunt down every last Kresh ship. We could, Rodriguez agreed. But then we become exactly what they were. Killers. Is that who we want to be? Counselor Park spoke up. The Kresh killed our people. But if we can turn enemies into allies, isn't that better than more death? Rodriguez thought carefully. Revenge was easy. Peace was hard. But peace was right. Commander Vrak, Rodriguez said finally. We'll accept your peace request. But there are conditions. Name them, Vrak replied. First, you help rebuild what you destroyed. Second, you share your technology with all species in the galaxy. Third, you join the galactic community as equals, not conquerors. Vrak was quiet for a long moment. Equals. Not rulers. Not predators. Just equals. We accept, Vrak said. 3 months later, the galaxy was different. The Kresh kept their word. They helped rebuild New Haven Colony. They shared their advanced technology. They taught other species their knowledge of warfare and hunting. But more importantly, they learned from humans. They learned about teamwork, about working together, about being part of something bigger than themselves. Slowly the Kresh changed. They were still warriors, still hunters. But now they hunted pirates and criminals instead of innocent species. They protected the galaxy instead of terrorizing it. Humanity became famous across the stars. Not as conquerors, but as the species that defeated the undefeatable. Other alien races came to Earth to learn, to trade, to make alliances. How did you do it? Ambassador Torval asked Admiral Rodriguez during a celebration. How did you beat the Kresh when no one else could? Rodriguez smiled. Because we understood something important. We're not the biggest, we're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, but we never give up, and we always work together. That makes us dangerous. The galaxy is learning that lesson now, Torval said. Every species is watching humanity, learning from you. Captain Mike Torres stood on the rebuilt New Haven Colony. The new buildings looked beautiful. Families had returned. Children played in the streets. It's hard to believe, Jenny said beside him. A few months ago this place was destroyed. Now look at it. That's humanity for you, Mike replied. We get knocked down, but we always get back up. A young girl ran up to them. She held a drawing. Look, I drew Earth and the Kresh planet holding hands. Mike smiled and took the drawing. That's beautiful. What made you draw this? My teacher said we used to be enemies, the girl explained. But now we're friends. She said that's what makes humans special. We turn enemies into friends. After the girl ran away, Jenny looked at Mike. She's right, you know. That is what makes us special. Far away on his ship, Vrak trained young Kresh warriors. But he didn't teach them the old ways anymore. Combat isn't just about individual strength, he told his students. It's about working with your pack. Supporting each other. Humans taught me that. They beat us not because they were stronger, but because they understood something we didn't. What did they understand, Hunt Master? A young warrior asked. That together we're stronger than alone, Vrak answered. The humans were right. They were always right. One of his students asked, are humans the galaxy's apex predators now? Vrak thought about the question. The humans had defeated the Kresh. They had united the galaxy. They had turned the most feared hunters into allies. Yes, Vrak finally answered. Humans are the apex predators. Not because they're the strongest, but because they never give up. Because they fight together. Because they turn enemies into friends. That makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. And I'm glad they're on our side now. On Earth, Admiral Rodriguez looked up at the stars. Humanity had started as one small species on one small planet. They had made mistakes. They had woken up ancient monsters. But they had survived. They had fought. They had won. And now the galaxy knew the truth. Never underestimate humanity. Never assume they'll give up. Never think they can't win. Because humans are survivors. Hunters. Pack animals who work together. And that makes them the most dangerous creatures the galaxy has ever known. The story of humanity and the Kresh became legend. It was told on 1,000 worlds. A warning. A lesson. A message of hope. The message was simple. Together, anything is possible. Glowing Star, thank you for watching. Glowing Star. What an incredible journey. From accidentally waking ancient apex predators to becoming the galaxy's most respected species, humanity proved that courage, teamwork, and determination can overcome any challenge.